Hey everyone, Scott here from Still World. Just a quick note to let you know that with the release of our new song Retrograde, we decided to record this podcast just to celebrate that, catch up, and let all of you know what's going on in the world of the band right now. But I just wanted to let you know that in the process of recording this, we did run into some technical issues, which we tried to solve as best we could. However, as you're listening or watching, you might notice that over the course of the episode, the video and audio from the four of us starts to overlap a little bit, and it just gets a little bit weird at times. Tried to fix it as best we could, but ultimately we did have to get to the point where it sort of ends abruptly from getting cut off just because it became unlistenable beyond that point. But I think we still got all the key points in, and regardless, we hope you enjoy this, and we hope you're enjoying the new song Retrograde. Bye.
Welcome to the Still World podcast. This is our third time trying to record this, but I think we finally got it. For those of you who might just be coming across us for the first time, we haven't done one of these in about 2 years, so this is really exciting to be back in a virtual room together, shooting the shit, talking all things Still World and music. For those who might not know, my name is Scott. I am the vocalist in the band.
I'm Dan. I play guitar and I sing.
I'm Jake, and I also play guitar and yell in the mic and sometimes sing in the mic, too.
My name is Jensen. I'm coming in from terrible phone audio. I play drums. Pretty appropriate to have bad quality audio. Well, I guess not. But I also do some low screaming and stuff. But what I'm mainly here for is to give my boys some love. I love them.
So, a lot has happened in 2 years or so. Suppose we can just do a quick around the table personal updates for anything anyone might like to share.
Scott, you start.
Jake, you all right, I'll start. I'll start. Last year I moved out to the mountains. I live in the mountains now in good old Colorado. Well, not really the mountains, but close enough. So yeah, that's really exciting. I have a real plant that I take care of now.
The responsibilities.
Moved it in here for the aesthetics. You know, got to remember to water it every day. So, what about you guys?
I recently moved out of my parents' house last week.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Feels good. Feels good. Pretty much done unpacking. It's only been a week, so
Nice.
quite the success, I would say.
That is quite the feat, my friend.
That's a superpower. It took me like 6 months to unpack
my
when
God.
I moved in here.
We've lived in this apartment for
Yeah,
a
dude,
year.
it takes
and we
forever.
Still haven't.
Yeah.
We still haven't unpacked entirely.
Oh my God. How much shit do you guys have?
A lot of it's stuff we need to put in storage. Like Felice has a lot of paintings that she's done that she's like, I don't, we don't have any place to hang these, so we'll put them somewhere eventually. But right now it's just a lot of boxes and like stuff she wants to donate and hasn't gotten around to yet. Yeah.
That's how it goes. That's how it goes sometimes.
1 second, I need to
So,
move my
doing the
phone
thing.
charger because my phone is not charged.
No worries. No, it's all good. It's all good. I'm just going to mute you for a quick sec. Dan, what about you?
I
What's
guess
new?
since the last one that we did, I also moved out of the nest. Emily and I now have our own apartment together, so that's fun.
Woo!
Living in the big old
Big
Chicago.
moves.
I'm out in the
Chicago.
burbs.
Big moves.
I'm a burbs guy. Love
You're
the
a
city,
bird guy?
but yeah, I'm a bird guy. Love birds.
It's okay, Jake. I'm kind of a burbs guy too, but Colorado's a little bit different. Like most of Denver is suburbs, so so a bit different. But yeah, so I think it's kind of crazy to think about. I think the last time we did one of these, we had had just played a show, and little did we know back at the end of February 2020 that was going to be our last show for well over 2 years. So yeah, a lot has happened. We also, some people may already know this if they've been aware of what we do, but in that time we did release some music. We put out an EP. How many songs? 5 songs?
Yeah.
Yeah. Put out a 5-song EP called Dark Matter, which was a ton of fun to record and work on. And about it's August now. About 8-9 months ago, right? We put out another single called Suffocate, which I think we're all super stoked on. That one was super fun. And that kind of brings us to the reason as to why we felt the need to record a podcast. We just put out another new single, which by the time anyone's listening to this will be out and online. And it's called Retrograde. And we're super excited about this track. I think I might be able to speak for all of us when I say it's maybe our favorite.
So far, it's my
Yeah,
favorite.
by
Our
far.
favorite song, the
Hands
best song
down.
we've done so far.
Definitely the best one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. Not only that, we did a music video for it, and I think it's also our coolest music video, so
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
some wins. While we're on that topic, it's also worth mentioning that we were very fortunate to have a little bit of like an internal creative super group here of sorts, and just have to give some quick applause to two of the gentlemen in this room in particular, Dan and Jake. Dan is an audio engineer by trade, truly, and we're very fortunate that he gets to share that skill set with us. So of course everything is for the most part written and especially engineered, mixed, and mastered.
Thank you
by
for
Dan.
the
So,
trust.
thank you, Dan. Yeah. And on the topic of the music video, thematically, Jake and I sat down to write kind of the story that takes place within it, but the entire video was directed, shot by,
Thank you,
and
guys.
by Jake. So well done, Jake. Credit where credit is due. So that was some fun projects to work on recently. Is there anything that you guys want to share about that process? Was there anything that you found particularly interesting about this particular song or this particular video that maybe felt a little bit different or
I
worth
think
mentioning after the fact?
For this song, one of the most fun and different parts that I think we did was, working off the momentum of Suffocate, going from more synth sounds, electronic sounds, and like a lot of industrial sounds, and crafting parts honestly around that has been super cool. Instead of starting with like a riff or melody or anything in that nature, using like weird industrial electronic sounds and crafting parts around that has been, I think, one of the cooler parts of this track.
Agreed.
Hell yeah. And just content on content. I guess we'll, since Dan mentions that, I think that by the time this podcast episode is up, we're also going to have a couple of behind the mix videos out about Suffocate and Retrograde. So if anyone's interested in the deconstruction and reconstruction of those two particular songs, head over. You might be watching this on YouTube already, but head over to YouTube and check out those videos because
Can we link
they're
in the
sick,
description?
and Dan did a great job talking through those tracks.
Yeah, most certainly.
The magic of the internet allows us to do this.
Just to, I've always wanted to do that in like a totally non-ironic way.
Smash that like button.
Take that subscribe button home for
Kill it.
Don't
Kill that.
call it back.
Kill that fucking like button. Murder it. Bury it in the ground.
Give it scenic shoes and drop it off.
Oh my god.
Tell him Tony sent you.
I think you should bury it alive.
Oh. Let's take a moment to talk about Liquid Death real quick. Oh, where's my camera? There we are.
Nice and blurry.
Nice. There we go. There's the focus.
There you
Look
go.
at that focus.
The
Cheers.
unofficial sponsor of this podcast,
Murdering our thirst.
keeping us all hydrated. Thank you, Murdering our thirst. Thank you, Liquid Death. Jake, what about the video? What was that process like?
The
for
biggest
you?
thing for me is like the very beginning of planning that video, like you and I hopping on Zoom calls, chatting through like the meaning of the song, how we could display that in a specific visual manner. And I thought it was interesting that you brought up that you wanted to do a thriller horror film kind of feel to it. We've done something like that in the past before with Pale Blue. But it's kind of cool just like going a little bit, in our own direction. Yeah, I thought it was just like super cool to like go deep into that and build off that. Just try to think of cool shots, cool props, and just build a sick video, Like what I do, like the first thing I do whenever like I have like the storyline or like anything to do with the song, like I just throw in my AirPods and jam the song on repeat and just try to visualize like those shots, and I write those down and then pretty much create like a mood board for myself. Sometimes I share it out, but it really just gives me like a baseline of what I envision for the video and what I think it should come out for or come out as, So
for sure.
Yeah, that process is always fun doing that.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. It's interesting that you say that you listen to the track a bunch to try and see what visuals come to mind, because I kind of do a similar thing when I'm writing lyrics for a track. Like I tend to think in images, and as I'm like piecing together the story of a song, for lack of a better term, it almost like in my head is like scenes in a movie, and then I just try to like translate those images into words. So yeah, it's kind of cool that you have like a similar
reverse.
mental process, but in the reverse.
Scott, tell the people what this song is about first, and then we could like go into like why we did the video how we did.
How do I explain this in simple terms? It's sort of about this concept of, being in an internal battle with yourself, in a sense. And I try to leave our songs like somewhat open to interpretation, because I do think that when you put a song out into the world, not everyone's going to know what the inherent meaning of something is. And I try to include lyrics that are specific to me, but can be perceived in perhaps a more like vague or open-ended way to other people, because I do sort of want people to have their own takeaway when they listen to a piece of music, and not have something be so specific that they can't relate it to their own life. So, that's like kind of like a secondary or like underlying meaning, but the direct explanation of the song, I suppose, is just sort of feeling like part of you as a person might want a certain thing really, really badly, to reach a certain goal, to do something in your life that is important to you. But sometimes I think I speak for everybody when I say we all go through times and experiences where it sort of feels that we're preventing ourselves from doing that. And there's always that moment when you sort of realize that you're the person who's in your own way. And it's sort of just about that process of recognizing that and trying to overcome it. So, by the time anyone's listening to this, the video will be out. So if you go watch the video, you'll see that it kind of portrays like a cycle, like someone whose life is on repeat in a sense. We tried to portray this idea of waking up each day and living the same thing over and over. So really just trying to capture that feeling of being stuck in the current way that people might be living. And we tried to capture that in the form of a death. So the video starts off with me waking up next to a lake, and it's sort of, we tried to imply that, I'm waking up next to a lake, and at the start it's not really clear exactly what happened. But then I get up and I walk away, and we're not really, me as the character is not really sure exactly what is going on. And soon we run into Jensen's character. You might not have known it was Jensen because he's wearing a mask the whole time, but and Jensen sort of plays the darker side of the, let's call it, the protagonist. That side of ourselves that is preventing us from doing what we feel like we want to do. And, really Jensen's character sort of like takes hold and what's the word I'm looking for? It's like takes control of the situation, and in the video quite literally like ties me up, right? So the idea is, this darker side of ourselves is like quite literally preventing the better or more positive side of ourselves from like growing and having new experiences and pursuing our dreams. And ultimately it's the idea is that we just have to find ways to overcome those challenges as they might come up in day-to-day life. So yeah, it was super interesting. And like Jake said, I've always been a big fan of, horror movies and thriller movies and stuff like that. So it was really cool to take that concept and then try to portray it in a way that
that's a great explanation.
Like
and
homage
also love horror movies
to those types of movies.
It wasn't like a good thriller,
And I did some acting back in high school, and so it was nice to get back into my acting roots, and it was nice to put a mask on my face because normally I was cast as the nice guy, and it was nice to play the bad guy and beat Scott with a crowbar.
With a crowbar. That I keep in my car at all times. To be honest.
What was funny about that actually is when we were on set and we were getting ready to do that scene, and Jake was prompting Jensen like, okay, so go and pretend you're gonna hit him. And Jensen was like, okay. And he like obviously stopped himself from hitting me, right? We don't want to actually like smash me with a crowbar. But then at one point Jake was like, nah, it's not really believable. Like you need to go a little bit harder and then just like pull back at the last second. And and after Jake said that, the first time Jensen went to go do it, he actually did smack my leg with the crowbar.
I'm so
And I remember it was like,
It's dedication.
everyone was like, "Oh, are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah," but
Scott
inside
had
I
a
was
bruise
like,
like this big on his
Yeah.
leg for the next 3 weeks.
I had to know my own strength.
It's funny.
"Oh, it's all good."
Dude, I'll say this. Scott was going to take one for the team. So before we went to film it, we got to the forest, and our plan was I brought a shovel, and we were gonna bury Scott alive in the ground. And as soon as we parked our cars, Scott's like, I feel like maybe we could just like, I don't know, do something different. Like me, like wake up on shore. I'm like, you just don't want to get buried alive, do you?
Yeah, but the place that we went to go shoot.
I mean, I had the camera
popular
in my hands. I mean, it would look
fishing
just
spot,
as bad.
so I was kind of like,
oh, fucking sick fox! They're gonna
showing up here.
They're gonna film it. What the hell?
And then,
the hell is this? I was very happy of how it came out, anyway. So.
Yeah. So
whether you're buried or not,
yeah, lots of funny moments and what could have.
It was
been.
also so hot and humid that day.
It was, and I was wearing skinny jeans. So was Scott.
Hell yeah.
Same.
I think we all were, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Bunch of emos going to the forest.
Bunch of emos going to the forest.
Yeah, what a day. I think the other thing we have to bring up too is earlier on I mentioned that when Jensen realizes his audio is delayed.
Yes.
We have booked a show. We have our first show coming up for the first time in over 2 years. And I'm pretty sure this is going to be out after the single is released, but before the show. So yeah. Dan, you want to tell the lovely people about
it's the
when, where,
it's
and with who
August
we're hopping on
28th
stage?
at Beat Kitchen, opening up for Michigan band Of Virtue, and I don't remember the other two bands, so whoops.
Marwood's Fall and
Marwood's
Scythurism.
Yes.
Scythurism.
Yeah.
I think
have been able to get that. It's bad because I forgot their names.
Great pronunciation.
But
of
I've
that
been
last
listening
one,
to
'cause I
them
struggle
before
with
this
it.
show, and it's going to be a sick show. It's a sick one.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All great bands.
Yeah, it's a good lineup, and it's nice. It feels, in a sense, like a full circle moment, because the very first show we ever played back in 2019 was with Crystal Lake at Beat Kitchen in Chicago, and after 2 years off, or really more over 2.5 years off in a sense,
Same.
having the same venue be where we're getting back on stage, I think it's gonna feel really cool. I'm really looking forward to it. And in a sense, we've been active, but we've definitely kind of been on a break of sorts over the past 2 years, right? Like, we put out music, but we weren't go because, in fairness, shows weren't really happening and stuff. So in a way, this is almost like a rebirth of the band. It kind of just feels like a really energetic, like revitalizing time with new music coming out, first time back on stage,
adding some other elements that we haven't before, and I think it's just going to make it that much more fun.
Totally.
So,
yeah. Go buy some tickets. Come on out.
I
Say
also just
hello.
love Beat Kitchen. I can't wait to just be back there.